Rain poured over the small coastal town as night covered the sky. The wind howled through the empty streets. Most people had locked their doors, but one man was still awake. His name was Ethan. He worked as a repairman near the old docks. The sea had always been his friend and his curse. He loved it, but it had taken too much from him, his father, his brother, and his peace. That night, lightning flashed over the water. Ethan saw something bright crash into the waves far away. It was not lightning. It was something burning blue and falling fast. He watched it for a second before it vanished under the dark water. His heart started racing. He grabbed his jacket, his flashlight, and ran toward the beach. The storm grew stronger. Waves hit the rocks like giant hands. When he reached the shore, he saw broken metal pieces scattered across the sand. They were sharp silver and glowing faintly. It looked like part of a ship, but not from Earth. Ethan stepped closer and noticed strange symbols shining on the metal. Then he heard a sound, a weak cry. It came from behind a half-buried door. He pulled at it until it opened with a heavy groan. Inside, under the flashing light, he saw her. A girl. Her skin was pale silver, smooth like glass, and her hair flowed like white silk. She was lying on the floor, trembling, her legs twisted under her. Her eyes opened slowly. They were glowing faint blue, full of pain and fear. "Please," she whispered in a soft voice. "Don't leave me here." Ethan froze. He had seen aliens before on news screens, but never this close. Most people feared them. But this one looked fragile, like she was lost and broken. He bent down and tried to lift her. She gasped in pain, clutching her legs. "I can't move," she said. "My legs are dead." Ethan wrapped his arms around her and carried her out of the wreck. The rain soaked them both, and the cold bit into his skin. He took her to his small workshop near the dock. Inside, he placed her on a couch and covered her with a blanket. Her breathing was shallow. She looked at the tools and wires around her and then at him. "You're human?" she said quietly. "Yes," Ethan replied, trying to stay calm. "You crashed near my town. What happened?" She looked away. "I needed to see the ocean," he frowned. "You came here to see the ocean? You almost died." Her lips curved in a faint smile. "Where I come from, there are no oceans, only dust. My mother told me stories about endless water. I wanted to see it before I die." Ethan didn't know what to say. There was something in her tone that felt heavy with sadness. He asked her name. "Lyra," she said. "I was not supposed to come here, but I had to." She tried to move her legs again, but they did not respond. She winced in pain. Ethan noticed faint blue marks on her skin like glowing veins. He wanted to ask what they were, but she looked too tired. He decided not to push her. He made a small fire in the corner to warm the room. The light danced across her face, making her look even more unreal. She watched the flames like she had never seen fire before. "Why did you help me?" she asked softly. Ethan looked at her. "Because you needed it. Most humans would have left me." "I'm not most humans," he said simply. Lyra studied him for a moment. There was silence, broken only by the sound of rain outside. She whispered, "If you knew who I really am, you wouldn't have saved me." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Who are you then?" She didn't answer. Her eyes turned toward the window, where the sea roared under the lightning. "The ocean," she murmured. "Can you take me there just once?" Before it's too late, Ethan hesitated. She looked too weak to move, yet her voice carried a strange strength. Something deep inside him told him she was not just another lost traveler. He didn't understand why, but he said yes. "I'll take you," he said, "but you'll need to rest first." Lyra nodded slowly and closed her eyes. Within minutes, she fell asleep. Ethan sat nearby, staring at her alien features. The faint patterns on her skin, the gentle rise of her chest as she breathed. She looked peaceful, almost human. But when the light flickered across her legs, he noticed something strange. The blue marks pulsed softly like they were alive. He leaned closer. For a brief moment, her toes twitched, just a little. Ethan stepped back. She said she was paralyzed. Maybe he imagined it. Maybe not. Outside, the storm kept raging. In the distance, a faint hum echoed through the sky. Unseen by Ethan, dark drones scanned the coastline, searching for energy traces. One of them detected the wreck. A red light blinked on its sensor. Ethan looked out the window, unaware of what was coming. He turned back to Lyra, who slept deeply, her face calm. He whispered to himself, "Whatever you're hiding, I'll find out." As thunder rolled over the sea, the camera of the story would slowly pan from his workshop window toward the black sky. where three glowing shapes moved through the clouds, getting closer to Earth. And down below, inside a quiet workshop by the sea, a human man had no idea he had just saved the most wanted being in the galaxy. Morning light broke through the clouds after a long night of rain. The sound of waves echoed faintly through the air. Ethan opened his eyes and saw Lyra still asleep on the couch. The fire had turned to ash, but the room was warm. For a moment, he wondered if the night before had been a dream. Then he saw the faint blue glow from her skin and knew it was real. Lyra woke slowly and tried to sit up. Pain crossed her face as she looked down at her unmoving legs. Ethan helped her sit straight. She smiled faintly and thanked him in her soft voice. Her tone was gentle, but her eyes carried something deeper, something she tried to hide. Ethan noticed the way her gaze lingered on the ocean map pinned to the wall. "You still want to see the ocean?" he said quietly. Lyra nodded. "I came across half the galaxy for it." "I can't stop now," Ethan hesitated. The coast was miles away, the path rough and wet after the storm. Carrying her there would not be easy. But when he saw how she looked at the map like a child seeing hope, he made up his mind. "Then we go today." He built a small chair with wheels from spare parts and tied it to a cart he used for heavy work. It looked strange, but it could hold her. Lyra watched him work, surprised by how carefully he built it. When he was done, she whispered, "Humans build with heart." He smiled, and sometimes with no plan. When they finally stepped outside, the sky was clear and full of light. Ethan lifted her gently and placed her on the seat. The sea breeze brushed her white hair. She looked at the open road and closed her eyes for a second, feeling the warmth on her face. "It smells alive," she said. "Your planet feels alive." They started moving. The wheels bumped over stones, the path climbing slowly toward the cliffs. Ethan pushed the cart, his muscles straining, but he didn't stop. Along the way, Lyra told him stories about her home world. It was dry and red, full of dust storms. Her people had once been explorers, but now they lived underground. She said water was rare there, and oceans were a legend told to children. Ethan listened quietly. There was something soothing in her voice, yet it felt like she was leaving out parts of her story. When he asked why she was alone in the ship, she paused. "Because I ran," she said simply. "From what?" "From those who forgot what mercy means." Her answer made little sense, but the pain behind it was real. Ethan didn't ask more. The road turned into forest trails. Trees surrounded them, their leaves glimmering under sunlight. Birds sang above, but Lyra flinched at every sound as if she was used to silence. He noticed it and asked, "Are you afraid?" "Not of your world," she said softly. "I'm afraid of mine finding me." Ethan frowned. "You think they'll come here?" Lyra looked at the sky. "They always come." He didn't understand what kind of danger she meant, but her words stayed in his mind. As the day went on, he noticed her hands trembling. The glow under her skin pulsed whenever she looked toward the horizon. At one point, when the cart hit a bump, his hand brushed her leg. He felt a faint vibration like static electricity. Lyra quickly pulled her hand over it, her face turning pale. "Are you hurt?" he asked. "I'm fine," she said too quickly. "It's just a nerve reaction." He didn't believe her. There was something strange about those glowing marks. They looked almost like circuits, not veins. He wanted to ask, but her sad expression stopped him again. She seemed lost between guilt and fear. By sunset, they reached the edge of the forest. From there, the ocean was still many miles away, hidden behind hills. Ethan stopped to rest. Lyra looked at the darkening sky. A single star blinked brighter than others. She whispered something in her language, a prayer maybe. Ethan asked what it meant. She said, "It's for those who didn't make it." He sat beside her, watching her eyes reflect the fading light. She looked fragile, yet when she spoke, her voice carried a quiet strength. "You don't know what you're doing, Ethan," she said. "Helping me could destroy everything you love." He stared at her. "Then let it destroy me later. Right now I'm helping you see the ocean." For the first time, she laughed softly. "Humans," she said, "you never stop surprising me." Night came again, and the sound of insects filled the air. They made camp under a large tree. Ethan sat close to the fire, thinking about her words. Lyra lay back on the cart, her eyes half open, staring at the stars. The blue glow on her skin flickered in rhythm with her heartbeat. She looked peaceful now, but the question in Ethan's mind grew stronger. Why did she lie about some things? Why did she look at the sky like someone being hunted? He didn't know the answers yet. But far above them, Hidden behind the stars, a small fleet had entered orbit, searching for someone who had escaped their command. And on a quiet Earth road, Ethan kept pushing forward with the girl who carried more secrets than the sea itself. The next morning came with soft sunlight and the smell of wet leaves. Ethan woke first. He stretched his arms and checked the small campfire that had almost died. Lyra was awake too, sitting quietly and staring at her hands. The blue glow on her skin was dim in daylight, almost hidden but not gone. She looked calm, yet her eyes carried the same storm he had seen before. Ethan offered her water. She thanked him with a quiet nod. As he packed the cart again, she watched the sky. There was worry in her face. He noticed it. "You're looking for something up there," he said. Lyra hesitated. "Not something," she whispered. "Someone," he frowned. "Someone following you?" She didn't reply. She turned her gaze back to the forest. The silence said enough. They started moving again, pushing through the forest trail. The wheels creaked softly over dirt and stones. Birds called from the trees. The world around them looked peaceful, but Ethan felt a strange unease growing. Every sound felt sharper than before. Every shadow seemed to move. He tried to ignore it, but the feeling didn't leave. After a few hours, he stopped to rest near a stream. As he filled his bottle, he noticed something unusual in the water. Small ripples moved in a perfect circle, even though nothing touched the surface. He turned slowly. A faint metallic sound came from above the trees. Lyra looked up, her eyes wide. "They found me," she said. Before Ethan could ask who, a flash of red light crossed the sky. A small drone hovered between the branches, its lens glowing as it scanned the area. Ethan grabbed a stone and threw it. The rock hit the drone hard, sending it spinning before it crashed into the mud. Sparks flew from its broken shell. "What was that?" he asked. "Hunters," Lyra said. "They track energy signatures from my body. They know I'm alive now." Ethan stepped closer to her. "Why are they after you?" She looked down. "Because I refused to destroy your planet." Her voice was steady but filled with sorrow. Ethan froze. "Destroy Earth? What do you mean?" "My people wanted to erase your kind before you reached the stars," she said softly. "I couldn't do it. I stopped the order. They called me a traitor. I escaped before they could end me." Ethan felt the world around him grow heavier. The alien girl he was helping wasn't just lost. She was a fugitive from her own race. He tried to stay calm. "Then we move faster," he said. "If they find us, they'll take you." Lyra shook her head. "They won't take me. They'll kill me and anyone who helps me. Then they'll have to go through me first." She looked at him, her glowing eyes filled with something between fear and gratitude. "You don't understand how dangerous they are." "Maybe not," he said, "but I understand what it means to not give up." They moved again, deeper into the forest. Ethan pushed the cart harder, his back aching but his resolve firm. The trail grew narrow, roots cutting across the ground. Lyra kept looking behind them, sensing something. The air felt colder. The forest had gone silent. When night came, they stopped in an open clearing. Ethan started another small fire and checked the sky. The stars looked clear, but among them one light moved unnaturally, slow and steady. He knew it wasn't a star. "A ship was searching," Lyra whispered. "They always send watchers first. Then soldiers." Ethan sat beside her. "Then we'll keep moving before dawn." She nodded. "Ethan, if I don't make it, promise me something." He looked at her. "Don't talk like that. Promise me," she said. "If they find me, you'll run. Don't try to fight them." "I don't break promises," he said, "so I won't make that one." Lyra smiled faintly, her eyes wet with something close to sadness. "Humans," she whispered, "always stubborn." They didn't sleep much that night. Every rustle in the dark made them tense. Ethan stayed awake, watching the fire and keeping his hand on the wrench beside him. Lyra rested with her eyes open, her glowing marks flickering like slow lightning. Somewhere far above the clouds, an alien fleet drifted closer, scanning the surface for the energy pulse she couldn't fully hide. When dawn broke, Ethan helped her onto the cart again. The path ahead was rocky, but beyond the hills he could smell salt in the wind. The ocean was close. Lyra looked toward the horizon and whispered, "Almost there." But behind them, deep in the forest, the broken drone flickered once more. Its red lens blinked to life and sent one final signal to the sky. The pursuers had found their trail. The sun was setting when Ethan and Lyra reached the foot of the cliffs. The air smelled of salt and wet earth. The ocean was still far away, but they could hear its deep echo in the distance. Ethan stopped to rest. His shoulders ached from pushing the cart all day, but he didn't complain. Lyra looked pale, the blue glow under her skin dimming with every hour. She tried to stay strong, but he could see the exhaustion behind her calm eyes. They set up camp under a large stone arch near a waterfall. The sound of falling water mixed with the cries of night birds. Ethan gathered dry branches and built a small fire. Lyra sat near the flames, her hands trembling slightly. The light from the fire danced on her skin, making the glowing lines on her legs shimmer faintly. She kept looking at them, as if remembering something she wished to forget. Ethan noticed her silence. "You've been quiet all day," he said. "Something on your mind?" Lyra smiled weakly. "Everything is on my mind." He sat beside her. "You said they call you a traitor. You said you refused to destroy us. I don't understand why your people wanted to do that." Lyra looked at the flames. "They saw your kind as a threat. My people believe in control. They watch every new world that grows too fast. When they saw how humans build and fight and love without rules, they became afraid. They called your emotions dangerous. I was sent to lead the final mission against Earth." Ethan felt a chill. "But you didn't do it." "No," she said softly. "Because I saw something in your world that mine had lost. You care for each other even when it hurts. You build hope out of broken things. I couldn't destroy that." Her voice broke for a moment. "So they called me a liar. They said I betrayed the galaxy for a weak species." Ethan looked at her legs again. "And your paralysis?" Lyra's face turned away from him. The firelight caught a tear rolling down her cheek. "It's not an injury," she said quietly. "It's punishment. I locked my nerves myself. I made sure I couldn't walk again." Ethan's eyes widened. "You did that to yourself? Why?" "To atone," she whispered. "My actions caused war among my people. Millions died before I could stop it. I swore never to stand again until I found a reason to forgive myself." Ethan didn't know what to say. The forest felt silent except for the soft rush of water. Lyra's confession hung heavy between them. He looked at her glowing legs, understanding that her pain was more than physical. It was guilt that lived deep in her soul. "You don't need punishment," he said. "You need peace." She looked up at him, surprised. "Peace? How can I find peace when every planet remembers my name with hate?" "By doing what you're doing now," Ethan said. "By choosing life instead of death. You're trying to see the ocean. Maybe that's your way to start again." Lyra's eyes softened. "You talk like someone who's lost too." Ethan looked into the fire. "Maybe I have." He didn't tell her about his family, about the storm that took his father's boat years ago, or the nights he spent listening to waves that never gave anything back. But Lyra seemed to feel it anyway. She reached out and touched his hand. Her skin was warm and smooth, glowing faintly against his rough fingers. "Thank you," she said softly, "for carrying me when I don't deserve to be carried." Ethan smiled a little. "I don't do it because you deserve it. I do it because it's right." They sat in silence for a while, watching the flames flicker. Then Lyra suddenly turned toward the forest. Her ears twitched slightly, picking up sounds he couldn't hear. "Something's moving," she said. Ethan grabbed his wrench and stood up. The forest was dark, but his instincts told him they weren't alone. He heard branches snapping. A faint red light blinked through the trees, moving slowly toward them. Lyra's eyes widened. "It's another drone." Ethan acted fast. He kicked dirt over the fire, darkening the camp, then pulled the cart behind a rock. The drone hovered closer, its lens glowing as it scanned the area. Ethan held his breath. Lyra pressed her hand to his arm, her pulse racing under her skin. The drone drifted above their heads, paused for a moment, then turned back toward the forest. It left as quietly as it came. Ethan waited until it disappeared into the night sky. When he looked back, Lyra's eyes were filled with tears. "They will not stop," she said. "Even if we reach the ocean, they will follow." "Then we'll make them regret it," Ethan said. "Tomorrow we move before sunrise." Lyra nodded slowly. Her voice trembled, but her words carried strength. "Tomorrow I'll tell you the truth about me." Ethan didn't press her. He sat near the dying fire, watching her fall asleep. The waterfall glowed silver under the moonlight. Somewhere in the shadows, the forest whispered secrets neither of them could hear. And high above, hidden in the clouds, a dark ship adjusted its course, heading straight toward them. The first light of dawn stretched across the forest. Mist hung between the trees like silver smoke. Ethan packed the camp quickly. He didn't speak much, and neither did Lyra. Her words from last night still echoed in his mind. "Tomorrow I'll tell you the truth about me." As they moved forward, the sound of waves grew louder. The salty wind brushed against their faces. Lyra closed her eyes and breathed deeply. "I can smell it," she said softly. "The ocean," Ethan smiled faintly. "We're close now." The trail opened into wide cliffs. From there they could see the endless blue stretching to the horizon. The morning sun reflected off the water like a sheet of glass. Lyra's eyes filled with light. She had dreamed of this moment her whole life, yet now she looked almost afraid to see it. Ethan pushed the cart slowly toward the edge of the sand. The wind grew stronger, carrying the roar of waves crashing below. Lyra's hands gripped the sides of her seat tightly. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "It's more alive than I imagined." He helped her down gently, setting her on the soft sand. Her silver hair shimmered under the sun. The blue marks on her skin glowed brighter than before. She touched the sand, feeling its warmth. Her fingers trembled as if touching something sacred. Ethan watched quietly. He could see tears in her eyes. "You made it," he said. "You finally saw the ocean." Lyra smiled, but her voice cracked. "Yes, but they will come soon." "They always do." Ethan looked around. The sky was clear, but far above a small red light blinked faintly through the clouds.
He knew what it meant.
He could feel it in his chest. Time was running out. Lyra turned toward him, her expression serious. "I owe you the truth now." Ethan knelt beside her. "Then tell me." She took a deep breath. "My name is not Lyra, it's Lirani. I was heir to the Council of Varnis, the ruling house of my people. I was trained to control entire star systems, to decide which worlds should live and which should burn. When Earth was discovered, I was ordered to lead the cleansing." Ethan stared at her. "Cleansing? You mean—" "Yes," she said. "Destruction. They believed your kind would bring chaos to the stars. I was to command the fleet that would erase this planet. But I refused. I destroyed my own flagship to stop them. Millions died because of me. My body survived, but my soul never healed." Ethan couldn't speak. The wind howled around them, carrying the weight of her confession. She looked down at her legs. "When I locked my nerves, it was not just punishment. It was my way of becoming powerless. I thought if I couldn't walk, I couldn't hurt anyone again." He looked at her, speechless. "And the drones?" "They are sent by the Council," she said. "They will not stop until I am gone. They can't let the galaxy know that their perfect daughter betrayed them for humanity." Ethan clenched his fists. "Then they'll have to go through me." Lyra shook her head. "You can't fight them. They have ships that burn worlds." "Then let them come," he said. "I've seen enough storms to know that some are worth standing in." Her eyes filled with emotion. She reached out, touching his hand. "Why do you care so much?" "You don't even know me." "Maybe I don't," he said quietly. "But I know what it means to fight for something good." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The ocean roared like thunder, waves crashing around them. The blue glow from Lyra's skin spread wider, moving up her neck and across her face. Ethan watched in awe. The marks looked alive, pulsing with light. "What's happening?" he asked. "It's the ocean," she said. "Its magnetic field reacts with my body. It's awakening the part of me I sealed away." Suddenly the ground shook. A deep rumble echoed above. Ethan looked up and saw dark shapes breaking through the clouds. Ships, sleek, silver, and fast. Their lights cut through the morning mist. Lyra's glow became brighter. "They're here," she whispered. Ethan pulled her close. "Then we finish this together." Lyra looked at him, her eyes shining like stars. "If they find me, I'll have to stand. I'll have to use what I am." "Then do it," Ethan said. "Walk if you can. Fight if you must. But don't give up." She hesitated, her hands shaking. "If I stand, I can never go back to who I was." "Maybe that's the point," he said. "Maybe it's time to stop being the one they made you." A soft smile crossed her face. She looked toward the ocean again, its waves rising high against the rocks. "Then let the sea witness it," she said. The sound of engines filled the sky. The sand around them trembled. As the ships descended, Lyra's legs began to glow brighter than the sun. The paralysis that had bound her for years started to break. She gasped in shock as strength returned to her muscles. Ethan's eyes widened. She was standing for the first time in years. Lirani, the girl who had chosen mercy over war, stood on her own feet at the edge of Earth's ocean. And above them, the hunters finally arrived. The air shook as the ships broke through the clouds. Their engines roared like thunder. Dust and sand whipped around Ethan and Lyra. The bright light from the sky turned the beach into a burning silver field. Ethan shielded his eyes, holding Lyra's arm. But she was not the same frightened girl he had carried. She stood tall now, the blue glow from her skin brighter than ever. The paralysis was gone. Her legs trembled with strength she had long denied herself. Her hair lifted in the wind. For the first time, she looked like who she truly was. Not lost, not broken, but something powerful and ancient. Ethan stepped back, staring in disbelief. "You can walk," he said softly. Lyra looked down at her feet, the sand glowing under them. "Yes," she said, "and now they will come for me." From above, beams of red light scanned the ground. Soldiers descended from the ships in armor that shimmered like mirrors. Their weapons crackled with blue energy. Ethan could feel their power even before they landed. The air hummed with danger. Lyra's voice was steady. "They are Varnus elites. My own guards. I trained them myself." Ethan tightened his grip on the wrench he always carried. "Then they'll listen to you." "No," she said quietly. "They only listen to the council now. To them I am already dead." The first soldier touched down. His voice echoed through a metal speaker. "Lyrani of the council, you are charged with treason, planetary sabotage, and aiding lower species. Surrender now." Lyra took a deep breath. "Tell them," she said, "that I did what they never could. I found something worth saving." The soldier raised his weapon. "Then you die with it." The shot came like lightning. Ethan dove forward, pulling Lyra aside. The blast hit the sand, turning it to glass. He stood up fast, his heart pounding. "Run," he shouted, but Lyra didn't move. She looked up at the ships and raised her hand. The air shimmered around her. The ocean behind her began to rise, waves lifting as if answering her call. The soldiers stopped, unsure of what they were seeing. Her voice grew louder, carried by the wind. "You call me traitor because I loved what you feared. You call me weak because I spared life instead of ending it. But I am done running." Blue light burst from her body, spreading through the air like fire. Ethan watched in awe as the waves rose higher, forming walls of glowing water between them and the enemy. The soldiers fired again. Their shots vanished into the liquid shield. The ocean itself seemed alive, moving with her heartbeat. Ethan ran to her side. "You're controlling the water," he said. She looked at him, her eyes glowing brighter than the sun. "The sea is full of energy. My kind can connect to it. I never tried before because I was afraid of who I am." The ground shook as another ship descended. The commander stepped out, taller than the others, his armor engraved with the mark of the council. He looked at Lyra with cold hatred. "You've disgraced your bloodline," he said. Lyra's voice was calm. "Then I will end it myself." Ethan stepped in front of her, wrench in hand. "You'll have to get through me first." The commander looked amused. "A human stands between us and justice. How fitting." He lifted his weapon, but Lyra moved faster. She extended her arms, and the water behind her surged forward like a storm. It struck the soldiers with force, throwing them back toward the ships. The sky turned dark with clouds forming out of nowhere. Thunder rolled across the horizon. Ethan watched her with awe and fear. She wasn't just defending herself. She was commanding nature itself. Every movement of her hands sent waves roaring and wind spinning. The commander tried to stand, shouting orders. "End her now," but Lyra didn't let him. She closed her eyes and whispered something in her native tongue. The ocean responded, rising higher and higher until it swallowed the beach in mist. When the light faded, the soldiers were gone. The ships pulled back, their sensors blinded by the energy surge. The commander disappeared in the retreat, his last words lost in static. Lyra collapsed to her knees, her glow fading. Ethan rushed to catch her. "Lyra," he said, holding her close, "you did it." Her breathing was heavy. "No," she said weakly. "I didn't win. I only stopped them for now." He looked at her face. "You saved us. That's enough." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "You don't understand. I used the power I swore to bury. Now the council will sense it. They'll come with everything they have." Ethan brushed the sand from her hair. "Then we'll face them again." Lyra smiled faintly. "You always say we like it means something." "It does," he said. "Because now you're not alone." She looked toward the ocean one last time, the waves calm once more. The sun broke through the clouds, painting the sky in gold. For the first time, Lyra's face softened with peace. "Then maybe," she whispered, "I can finally start walking toward forgiveness." Ethan held her close as the sea glimmered around them. Neither of them noticed the silent signal rising from the ocean floor, a pulse of light calling something even greater from the stars above. The war was not over. It was only beginning. The sky was quiet again, but the silence felt heavy. The ships had pulled back beyond the clouds, leaving only smoke trails and broken sand. Ethan sat beside Lyra, his arms holding her steady. She looked weak but alive. The glow in her veins had dimmed, though faint sparks still pulsed under her skin like fading stars. He wiped the sand from her face. "You need to rest," he said. Lyra shook her head slowly. "There's no time. The council knows I used my power. They'll come with something stronger." Ethan looked toward the ocean. The waves were calm now, soft and peaceful, as if the sea itself was resting after the battle. "Then let them come," he said. "You won't face them alone." Lyra smiled faintly. "You don't understand, Ethan. They won't just come for me. When they arrive again, they'll burn this world to make sure no trace of me remains." He stood up, refusing to let fear take him. "Then we find a way to stop them first." Lyra looked up at him, her expression soft. "You're only human. You can't fight the stars." "Maybe," he said. "But humans don't stop when something seems impossible." She gazed at him in silence. His words carried the same stubborn strength that had always confused her. Her people would call it foolishness, yet she saw something powerful in it, something worth believing in. Lyra tried to stand, but stumbled. Ethan caught her before she fell. "Easy," he said. "You don't have to prove anything." Her voice trembled. "Yes, I do. I need to end this myself. If I don't, they'll keep hunting me forever." Ethan frowned. "What are you planning?" Lyra looked toward the water. "There's something hidden beneath the ocean floor. A beacon I placed long ago. It connects to the council's communication grid. If I overload it, I can send a signal strong enough to make them think I'm dead. It will stop their hunt, but the energy will destroy everything within miles." Ethan's heart sank. "You mean you'll destroy yourself?" "It's the only way," she said quietly. "It's my fault they came here. It's my duty to make sure they never return." He stepped closer, his voice firm. "No, there's always another way." Lyra looked into his eyes. "You don't know what it's like to carry billions of lives in your memory. Every scream, every world that fell because of me. I can't live free while others suffer from my choices." Ethan reached out, holding her face gently. "Then live to make it right, not to end it." For a moment she couldn't speak. Tears shimmered on her cheeks. "You make everything sound so simple." "Maybe that's why it works," he said. The wind picked up, carrying the smell of salt and the sound of faraway thunder. Lyra turned toward the sea again. "If I walk into the water, I can reach the beacon and disable it another way. It will take all my strength, but maybe I can survive." Ethan hesitated. "Maybe? I don't know what will happen," she said. "But I know I have to try." He took her hand. "Then I'm coming with you." Lyra shook her head. "You won't survive the pressure down there." "I've already walked into storms I wasn't meant to survive," he said. "This won't be different." She looked at him one last time, searching his face. Then she smiled softly, a real smile this time. "You humans," she whispered, "always walking beside danger and calling it love." Together they stepped into the waves. The cold water rose around them, the horizon glowing faintly with morning light. As they went deeper, Lyra's glow returned, bright and steady. The sea seemed to recognize her, swirling gently as if welcoming its queen. Far below, the ocean floor pulsed with blue light. The beacon was waiting. Lyra raised her hands and the water around them began to spin. Ethan could barely see through the brightness. The glow expanded until everything became light and sound. He felt her voice in his mind. "If I make it back, promise me you'll take me to see the sunrise again." "I promise," he said. There was a flash, then silence. When Ethan opened his eyes, he was lying on the shore. The ocean was calm, the morning sun high above. The beacon was gone. No ships, no drones, no skyfire. Only peace. He looked around, calling her name. For a moment there was nothing. Then through the mist he saw a figure walking out of the waves. Lyra. Her steps were slow but steady. The blue glow had faded completely. She looked human now, fragile yet alive. Ethan ran to her, catching her as she stumbled. "You did it," he said. Her voice was weak but filled with warmth. "No," she said. "We did it." They stood together, the ocean behind them calm and endless. Lyra looked at the sky and whispered, "Maybe this world can forgive me." Ethan smiled. It already has. As the wind moved across the sand, the two of them stood side by side, watching the waves roll in. Somewhere far beyond the clouds, the stars watched quietly, and for the first time in centuries, Lyrani of the Varnis felt free, and beside her, a single human had changed the fate of a galaxy simply by carrying one girl toward the sea.